Hello, welcome to Record Time. Record Time is a weekly live Akashic experience where we explore simple and mysterious questions through the lens of the Akashic Records. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're here. Today, the topic is still forming. I know that it's there, it's kind of vague, but today's topic is how to discern between slowness and stagnation. And the context behind this question is sometimes when we're working on things, especially when you're beginning to align with your soul work, your purpose, if you will, that transition is usually big. And as you're reorienting, that's why I'm doing that gesture, it's as you're reorienting to the direction of your soul's purpose, that whole process is slow. And so the question we're exploring is, how do we differentiate between slow progress and stagnation, or things slowly taking form versus nothing is happening? How do we tell the difference between that? In the context of soul work is what we're looking at, but if you have another example where this would apply, you can loosely translate it to that, perhaps. So I'm asking the masters, teachers, and loved ones how we can tell the difference between slow progress and stagnation. And they're saying it's easy. Nothing is ever stagnant. Gotta love the sass and the straightforwardness that they offer sometimes. Yeah, they're saying nothing in nature is ever stagnant. Nothing is ever really standing still. And so they're saying the worry here is, oh, nothing's happening. That feels like a problem. My human self feels like if nothing is happening, if there's no progress being made, that's a problem, because I want there to be progress. I want to be moving forward. I want my work to be growing. And I want me as a being to be evolving and growing too. And so this idea of stagnation or nothing is happening feels like a problem that I want to avoid. And they're saying stagnation doesn't occur in nature. That's not a thing. And they're look at anything in nature, it's always moving. Something is always happening. Even when a seed is underground, there are processes happening inside it. And even when it's it hasn't sprouted yet, it's almost they're showing me this pulsating seed. It's before the seed sprouts roots, it's sitting still. Stillness is not stagnation. They're saying it's sitting still, but it's almost it's pulling in the energy it needs to bring that spark of life into existence. It's pulling in the energy it needs and gathering potential energy so that it can make that first move of noticeable, visible growth. And the first move of noticeable, visible growth is still underground. But that sprouting of the root, it is still happening underground, but it's more visible than when the seed is just sitting still. So they're stagnation isn't a thing. Even when something looks like really nothing is happening. There's like transmissions of energy happening all the time. The seed is gathering its energy in order to grow. And even when something dies, it's releasing energy and decomposing. And as it decomposes, it's like transforming back into the earth. So really nothing is stagnant. Even lifeless things aren't really stagnant. So they're like, you don't need to worry about stagnation. And they're saying slow progress is an interesting question, though, because now it's like, okay, well, I know I'm not stagnant. Now we have established that, sure, not like 2-minute description. Okay, so if stagnation is not an option, how do I know that I'm still making progress in the direction that is in alignment? How do I know? Because it still looks like nothing is happening. So how do I know this is actually moving in the direction that is in alignment, that I want it to go in, and that is in alignment for me and my work? How can we tell that that's what's happening? And they're saying, you'll feel it. When things are moving slowly, the external may not reflect that like slow progress that is occurring inside you. So it's like we're like the little seeds that are pulling in this energy before the external shifts, right? So it's like as a seed, as a little human seed, I'm pulling in all of this energy before the first external visible things occur, being like, oh, there's a root now, a sprout now. And so they're saying you'll feel it on the inside. You'll feel the changes inside you before you see them outside you. And this isn't a new concept. I've heard other people say the same thing, but this is what the masters, teachers, and loved ones are saying now, is you'll feel the difference. And it is slow. It is really, really slow. So they're inviting me to use myself as an example. When I started Record Time, I think this is the 14th episode of this like weekly live thing that I do. And when I did the first Record Time, I didn't have anything else going on that day. And the whole day I was just like, what am I going to talk about? And I was like trying to plan the whole thing out. And I was planning it to be 1 hour long. If you go back, please don't, but if you go back, that first Record Time is like an hour long and it's horrible. And I was so nervous the whole day. It was crazy. And I was just like preparing the thing in my head the whole day, and it was wild. And now, the last like 3 or 4 Record Times that I've done, the last 3 or 4 weeks that I've done this, I haven't even thought of the topic until I sit down and like the 30 seconds before I press record, that's when like the topic comes in. So that's like a drastic, profound difference in how I approach the same thing. Externally, nothing has changed, right? It's not that the show, if I even call it a show, it's like just me. It's literally me talking to myself most of the time. Occasionally there are some people watching it live, so the secrets are out, but like, and I so love when people are here live, and it's so exciting. But yeah, externally nothing has changed. It's just me, talking about something. But the energy that I bring to it is totally different. I am way more calm now than I was at the beginning. But it took 14 weeks for that to happen, right? That's like 3 months, more than 3 months. So, like, really, if you think about it, like 3 months isn't actually that long of a time, but it feels slow. And it was like 14, like, grueling weeks of trial and error. And so they're saying, like, that's how you can notice that progress. How do you feel when you approach the same work that you're doing? Are you noticing progress within yourself? Within yourself, not outside of yourself. It doesn't matter if there's external results for the first, long time. And so they're saying don't get discouraged if there's no external results. It will take time. It will take time. Soul work is slow. Magic, earth magic, is slow. The process of creating something from divine inspiration through your mind, through the body, and out into the world for other people to interact with, that's a slow process. And yeah, there are moments where the creation phase is fast, but overall it's slow. Especially when you're at the beginning, orienting from one thing that's not in alignment, coming into deep alignment, it is slow. And so they're saying don't feel discouraged because nothing outside of you looks different. All the encouragement you need is in how you approach this work. And that is such a sweet message. It really does feel encouraging. And they're saying encourage, that word, the encouragement you need, right? The main part of that word is courage. It takes courage to keep going when it looks like nothing is happening. But the encouragement you need, that source of courage you need to keep going, you can find that in how you change, how you relate to your work differently over time. Notice and appreciate the calmness that is cultivated over time within yourself as you persist and continue on, even when it's difficult. I hope that made sense. Okay, I think that's where we'll end today. It was weird to use record time as an example in the middle of record time, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you enjoyed this, I would love if you could share it with a friend. If you know someone who might also enjoy this, please share it. I would love that. And until next week, I'm wishing you well. Namaste.